Now let us have a look at the situation in Poland. Small water retention will become very popular in the future probably, and in some places there will be problems with water cleanliness, purity. Therefore, we would like to invite Mr. Andrzej Marczyński to give his presentation. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman, dear president. I would like to thank you for the invitation, and at the same time I would like to apologize to everybody for the presentation, which is quite scanty, because I was invited as the speaker at the latest possible moment. I am, of course, very happy to be here. I will deal with the revitalization of inland waters, and in the company that I preside over is the one I've been working at since I graduated from the university for approximately 36 years. So I don't have any comparison what it is like in other companies. And I am the first manager of this former state-owned fishery farm in Miastko. And everything happening there is the fruitage of all my professional efforts from all my life. Miastko is the community of the area, probably the biggest in Poland, which is situated 400 kilometers from Warsaw to the northern west, 54 kilometers from Słupsk, and 74 kilometers from Koszalin to the east. This is the area probably the cleanest in Poland, and a few people know that at this territory we have the storage of probably the purest water in the world. I mean, these are some lakes with catarabic waters that do not conduct electricity. The same type of water is can be found also in Alps and in Canada, and these lakes are situated quite close to the seaside, however at some height at the level of 150 up to 180 meters over the sea level. Our soils, and we've been active on the territory of 5 voivodeships, mainly Pomeranian and West Pomeranian voivodeship, are quite poor, and the filtering water from the lakes to the soil through the big amount of sand gives the origin for hundreds of gives a source to 100 of source streams, and to the south we've got Czernica joining with Odra River, and to the north we've got Pomeranian rivers flowing directly to the sea. So it is something extraordinary. And when I started my university education in 1970s, exactly in 1970s, I needed to use a state subsidy, so I took it from Radom, where I come from. And as a fisherman, I traveled throughout the Poland, fishing mainly for trout, and I thought that Radom is not my favorite place, and I concluded that I would love to live where I'm living now. And after more than 40 years of being there, as a mature man, I hope I can say something like this about me. If I were to choose another place in Europe where I would love to work, I wouldn't choose Warsaw, I'm certain about it. I was yesterday in Royal Gardens Łazienki, and I saw the pond, which I remember from more than 40 years ago, where calves were swimming in a crystalline, pure water. Now it's as dirt as sewage. And I would choose the same place I chose 40 years ago. I'm very passionate about this area. I'm very passionate about my job, and I'm proud of the types of fish the species of fish we keep there. Both for consumption, I mean carp and trout and other fish species. And we are involved in some programs of fish rehabilitation, and it's Atlantic salmon that disappeared from Polish rivers in 1970s. Now it's restored owing to our efforts to quite nice level of existence. Vistula trout, which disappeared from Vistula River after the a dike was built in Włocławek. We keep this fish species in our farm, and the fish is able to migrate to San, to other rivers. We also have sturgeon, which disappeared from Polish rivers as well, but owing to the genetic tools, it turned out that it wasn't the Western Accipenser, but it used to be Atlantic Accipenser, so we created an inland fisheries institute, and my company was involved in the process of spawning performed in Canada. The footage of it is brought to Poland, and basically it is Odra drainage basin, which is inhabited with this fish species. So our production is not only for commercial purposes in terms of fish, of meat, but we also fight for the purity of our environment. Working in water, I can say it, I would like to praise the farmers who were here before me for their avoiding to use artificial fertilizers, which contributes to the water purity. Water is the source of our life, and it used to be also the source of all the dirt many years ago, where beds and TV sets and cars and bicycles were thrown into. And owing to that activity, the environment was ruined completely all over Poland. It is just like with the ponds in Royal Gardens Łazienki. And there is no water renovation system to succeed. No coagulants, no oxygenation can succeed if there is no natural microflora to recultivate the territory. Nevertheless, my company depends on the quality of water, because otherwise no husbandry would succeed, and the fish would be in poor condition, suffering from many diseases. And in our systems, which are quite which suffer from the pressure, regulatory pressure, we focus on the water recirculation in closed systems, and we want to achieve pure water. And for many years I've been involved in technological designing of the systems for commercial fish husbandry. and we were trying to achieve as clean water as possible. And I can say that we achieved the recirculating water to be better quality than the input water. And the only problem was oxygenation, which decreased from 70-80% up to 30-40% maximum. So we needed to improve the saturation in order to obtain 100% level, and in these conditions fish husbandry is possible. The costs were quite high. We used aerators, so we based on electricity, and the pure oxygen is pumped into the water, which is quite costly. More than 10 years ago in Poland, and exactly in Słupsk, American company came, organizing the meeting on pond and lake recultivation. And they inspired me, I don't remember the name of this company, they inspired me to look for the other ideas to recultivate waters from Jamno Lake near Słupsk. No recultivation took place, however, when EMs were introduced to Poland, when the manufacturers settled in Poland, I got interested in it, and I started using the EMs in all possible applications, of course starting from myself. And the first experiment was the post-farming sludge, so the manure in the aquarium. The sludge was treated with EMs, and after we applied it, the intensive odor was all over the place. It was quite cold outside, so I had to perform this experiment at home, what I wanted to get rid of me and this aquarium. And after one day, this odor disappeared and water appeared just above the sludge, and I checked the saturation, the oxygenation. It was 0% initially, and after 2 weeks, approximately 30%. So this machine started working. And after 2 or 3 weeks, the over-sludge water was approximately 40%. So the sludge seemed to shrink, to get consumed by the EMs. And I decided to use the EMs in my recirculators on many biofilters, and we have more than 10 farms like this. And the water, which used to have 30-40% of oxygenation, now recirculates with the saturation of 75 up to 85%. Conducting a full-sized company with a full accounting system, etc., I asked my accountants to calculate the benefit after a few years, and we saved 65% of money on electricity, and on the purchase it was 70%. The fish was in perfect condition, and simultaneously, of course, I started adding probiotics to the food, so the fish became healthier. The body mass increased faster, and the food usage was more economic. Above all, in the installations for the sludge removal, formerly we had to clean all the pipes twice a year, because otherwise they were blocked, and the flow rate was very poor. Now we don't need to clean the pipes at all because the flow is unobstructed. And one of the ichthyologists employed at our company brought a trip from Denmark, and we stood next to a well which pumps the sludge out, and these people from Denmark looked at this and said that there is something wrong because there is no odor, and I work using the same systems. My company started using the EMs to recultivate lakes. We had 104 lakes, 5,000 hectares. Now there are only 3 lakes, but one of them was fully purified, and it was the biggest. And the biggest one of 64 hectares is under the purification. So now we've got 15 meters of depth, and it is an improvement because initially it was only 3 meters. And cormorants disappeared. We used to have 40 cormorants last year, and now just a few of them sometimes appear here. And it is due to the fact that fishing is quite difficult for them. I need to end because I want to be careful with time, and I don't want you to get bored.